Hey everybody, welcome back to another, I don't want to call it a reaction video, more like it's a reaction video, but a little bit of like critique. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm obviously a huge K-pop fan. My alt group is BTS, but I also love other hype groups like TXT and Enhypen, the Seraphim. And I was so excited that recently Hybe Latin America decided to try to find or create the newest Latin boy band. Back history, I'm very aware of like the OG Latin boy bands, you know, like if you know Menudo, that was like one of the first boy bands, and like a lot of other ones recently, CNCO, RVD, which was kind of like had both boys and girls. But we haven't had a proper Latin boy band that sings in Spanish in a while. So, you know, we've seen the outcome that Hybe had with Enhypen, with and Team, recently Cat's Eye. So now it's the turn for Latin America to have their own boy band and go through the whole process. I've been watching the series online. Every week they have like a new episode, and this week I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like react to each episode because obviously it's like a different audience. But this week it was a perfect tie-in to what I listen to my channel. It was K-pop week. They were going to be covering a song by Enhypen. Not only that, but they were going to get feedback from the Sungsungduk, which he was like OG big hit with BTS. He was their choreographer. He was helping them with the artistic process, even in like some older BTS, their older BTS performances. Sungsungduk was a backup dancer, because if you guys know the lore of BTS, Big Hit was not part of the big three. Like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, in 2013, 12 years ago when BTS debuted, they were literally like a small struggling company. Sungsungduk stuck with BTS. He was their choreographer. That's why their choreographies are always like so well synchronized, so perfectly synced. They rehearsed for every possible outcome. Recently now he became the artistic director for Hybe America. So he's involved in a lot of the direction and choreography for Cat's Eye. And if you saw Dream of Academy, you saw that he was like there with them in the dance studio, critiquing their performances, critiquing their lines, their dance, the stamina, being able to sing and dance at the same time. Also like the performance aspect, like emoting and like feeling the music that they were showcasing. So obviously they had to bring in the big guns for Hybe Latin America, especially during K-pop week. Like you can't judge K-pop without having Sungsungduk, which basically is one of the pillars of Big Hit, which later became Hybe. So seeing his feedback for the boys and his critiques and like pointing out was something that I was looking forward to. Once I saw that episode, to be honest with you, he was very, very easy on all of the boys. I've lost count how many there are in the group now. I think there's 11 left now after the eliminations. Or 13, because they want to narrow it down to 10. But anyways, he was very easy on them compared to the way you could see his face, like when he's like not liking a choreography. Like if you saw Dream Academy, you can tell when Son was pissed and he was like, what the heck are you guys doing? He was so, or maybe it was the editing, but he was like a dream with Santos Bravos. Like he didn't go as hard on them as I thought he would. Obviously, like they were divided into two groups. They were covering Enhypen's Bad Desire, the English version. So that's one challenge for them. Obviously, most of them, with the exception of Drew, who's American, most of them, their language is Spanish, obviously. So they had to learn the English version of Enhypen, work with the pronunciation, sing it live, and dance it live, perform it live. The choreography was modified from the original, so they didn't have the original choreography, which is a little bit, I don't want to say it's more difficult, but there are some steps. If you are an engine, you're familiar with the Enhypen choreography for Bad Desires, when it's like the leg kicks and the syncopations and things like that. And that's a very difficult vocal song to sing while dancing, as it is. So they did modify, they didn't copy the original choreography. They kind of modified it to fit their vibe. The Santos Bravos vibe is what the choreographer said. But that was so that's kind of like going into it, what it's going to be like. When Son saw them the first time, he gave them feedback as far as like, you need to give more power, you need to be more in line with your group, you guys need to decide as a group like, what's the choreography going to be? Are you guys going to go hard? Are you going to go soft? What are you like, how are you performing this? You guys need to be one unit, because this is focusing not only on like your individual interpretation of the choreography. You guys are a group, so you guys have to be united in how you're going to perform it, like how strong you're going to be performing it. When like, pay attention to the details, like, are your legs closed, are your legs open? And then he did call out like specific members and giving them tips as far as like, you know, you need to give more like, you need to feel more the music, you need to emote that you're, you know, what you're feeling, things like that. So that was day one, and day two he went back to like see where they're at, and again give them feedback of like where they need to improve, where they should be at, obviously taking into consideration the fact that they've only been working with this, I think they only worked with the choreo for like 1 week, which obviously to all of these kids, because they're from ranging, the youngest one is Kenneth, he's like 15, Jesuale is 16th, and like the older ones are in their like 21, 23, that's the age range. So a lot of these people obviously were scouted because they're dancers. A lot of these people were scouted because they're vocalists. Like for example, Kenneth, if the kid's like 15, 16, I think, he's already got down like how to work his voice. He has his vocals mastered. Obviously it's going to change once he goes through puberty and everything like that. So for the vocalists, their challenge is to learn the dance and being able to pick it up at a quicker pace, and not only pick up the choreography but perform it as perfect as they can. Like watch the lines, watch the elongations, watch like the feeling, the vibe, how high you jump, like how much energy you're putting into the song. Because one comment that Song made was, you guys shouldn't be going this hard throughout the song. You should be able to like pull back, know when to pull back and know when to go full force. So you are emoting that feeling of the song, because if you're performing everything strong and hard, then it loses its meaning. Then it's not as impactful as when you're like, you have that push and pull. And obviously with Bad Desire, if you've heard the song, you're familiar with the song, it's kind of a very angsty song, because it's like, what if I told, it's basically the song saying like, I'm a bad guy, but I need to be with you. I want to be with you, but I don't want to taint you. I don't want to taint your golden light. But it's like, with or without you, I'm torn between this deeper desire. So he's like, it's like this bad guy, obviously because they're vampires, talking to the girl, telling her I need to be with you, but I know I can because I know I'm bad for you. So you're like, it's that angst that has to be not only portrayed by their voices, but also by the way you do the dance. So that was one of the notes that Son gave them. So those are the things obviously they have to work with. The dancers have to work on their vocals, being able to learn to sing and be able to sing well and hold the notes and harmonize and layer with the other team members. The vocalists needing to learn how to do the performances, the choreographies, and then mold the dance and do everything cleanly, all while meshing with the other members that are, you know, more vocally talented, more dance talented. So that's what this whole episode was about. Obviously it's been culminating. So the groups were divided into two groups. One group was more stacked with dancers, and one group was more stacked with vocalists. So you're going to be able to see, like, if you're looking at it more in a analytical way and not just focusing like, oh my god, he's my favorite, I want him to debut, you will be honest and you will be able to I don't want to say nitpick, but like call out like, okay, you're at this week already, you're on week 8 and you still haven't improved on whether it's dance or whether it's vocals, or they're giving you this feedback and you're like caving under the pressure. Because part of being an artist is you have to be able to go on live and perform no matter what is happening with you internally, emotionally. If you're struggling, if you're sick, even sometimes you have to be able to like set that aside, and the audience should not be seeing that. So we're gonna go ahead and basically take a look at the performances of the two groups for challenge number 8, which is Bad Desire by Enhypen, after receiving the feedback from Son Duke. And the reason I'm like doing this video is because like I mentioned, I've been watching the show since it started airing. I kind of like started getting acquainted with like the finalists, the competitors, if you can say that. At first I had like my favorites, because obviously you're always, first thing that catches you for any group, it's like visuals. This person is good looking. I like what their vibe, what they can bring. But obviously as the show progresses, you're like, ooh, they're cute, but they can't sing. Or they're good singers, but they can't dance. Or they're good dancers, but they can't sing. Or why is this person still here by this point, right? So obviously everybody knows that K-pop is like one of the most challenging type of songs to perform, because K-pop artists are like well-oiled machines. They have to be able to sing, they have to be able to dance, and they have to be able to perform, which is completely different. Performing does not mean they're good dancers. Performing means is that they're giving you the attitude, they're feeding you, they're selling you what the song is about, like the feeling, the emotions. They're able to emote that to you so you feel it, and that makes you appreciate the song more and also like the group more. But anyways, all that to say, we're gonna be looking at the challenge number 8, Bad Desire by Enhypen from Santos Bravos, and I'm gonna mention some things that are good, call out some things that were need work on, that I'm a little confused as why some people are still here, but also mention some call out some of the contestants that are excelling and that are doing like really well with their learning curve, and they're actually progressing, that I feel should debut. I think they've said it's like 5 that they're looking for, but I don't know if they're gonna end up doing like surprise, it's actually 6. You know how they did with Enhypen? It was like we were voting for 6, and then surprise, it's actually 7, because there was a producer's pick. But also I've been seeing a lot of videos with comparisons between like the Santos Bravos performances and then Enhypen performances, and I kind of want to come into this as an engine, not to defend Enhypen, but also to call out some of the differences in the way that the songs were styled and the ways the keys were changed for the Santos Bravos contestants, because obviously, like I mentioned, some of them have been singing for a while, some of them have been dancing for a while, but it's not the same level of preparation that artists like Enhypen has. So obviously they have to modify the song and the choreography to fit Santos Bravos level of preparedness. So that's another thing that, if you want to compare, you have to make sure that you're taking those little tweaks into account, so for it to be a fair comparison. But anyways, we're gonna start with group 1. Which this is the group that has like more of the dancers, because we have Alex, who's from Spain. We have I think this one has Pablo, and then we have Gabby, who's like last performance he was pretty stable. Iannis is like great vocally, and then we have, I think, this one, who else? Drew, he's like a really good dancer. So this is the group that has more like, it's stacked with the dancers for the choreography. So I'm gonna be pausing just to call out like some of the things that I noticed as far as like the vocals, because I feel with the choreography they all did well with the choreography that was given, but what stands out for me is the way that the vocal performance. Like Iannis kicking it off, he's like a really good vocalist. And I think like they're harmonizing good at this part. I didn't like this. Like he was hitting, that's Iannis, he was hitting all the notes, but I feel like the angst wasn't there. Like this group is like, you can tell they're more stacked with the dance, because the vocals were very timid. He was hitting all the notes, but it was very timid. It was like, what if I told ya I'm a monster, but I know your heart is pure. I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. You're not giving me anything vocally. And I didn't like the arrangement of how they try to do the chorus, where it's like pure. Like, I feel like it was out of nowhere. What is that? I don't know. Diego. I don't know why this guy is still there. Like, supposedly he's a really good dancer. I haven't seen any performance that showcases his dancing, so you could say like, oh my god, he's an amazing dancer, he needs to be in here. He is vocally so weak, and he has not improved throughout any of the performances. They've given him like lower registers. I don't know if they're trying to fit him into that role of he's going to be like a lower register person, but this one I feel like it's more like a mid-level vocal, and he's not hitting the notes.
Santos Bravos. What if I told you that I want you, but I see your heart is pure? What if I told you I'm a monster? Now come closer. Innocent girl, don't touch, don't do it.
Like right there, you can see two vocalists that are stacked. It's the higher note that's like, innocent girl, don't stop, don't do it. But Diego is supposed to be doing the lower layer, innocent girl, don't stop, don't do it. And you can barely hear him. You hear the second vocal better because it's like a higher register instead of his, and he's supposed to be, this is supposed to be his moment to shine, but his vocals are not there. You could hear the backup, the second vocal is Drew. You can hear his vocals over Diego's, which is bad because usually you should be able to hear the lower register perfectly fine. You should be able to differentiate both of the vocal notes, but Diego is just not hitting any of the notes. And he's running out of air. He can't even do here in the dark, my sacrifice. That's Drew hitting that. You could hear the whole sentence. But Diego was like, here in the, my sacrifice. And then all he was doing was a turn. I'm so upset by this. Like, I honestly don't know why he's still there. You could hear how he loses his breath. My sacrifice. The backup vocals are out singing him. Like, that is Drew. He's doing like the high register, which you can tell is not his forte, but he's a dancer. So the fact that he's at least trying and he's hitting the notes, obviously he's not singing them, like the audio is not as loud. That's one thing. He doesn't yet have that control of being able to have enough air to, what is the word I'm looking for? To vocalize, send out a stronger vocal, but he's hitting the notes. He's like consistent with like that high register. He doesn't sound out of breath. He's doing like the synchronized moves with everybody else, obviously at his own pace, because right now he's the lead. Everybody else is being his backup dancers, but he's hitting the notes very steady, not as strong. Like you don't hear it as much, but you hear him sing the complete sentences. And remember, he's like a dancer. Like, vocal is what he's learning now. Compared to Diego, who is like losing his breath. Like, you can't hear his lower register at all. And he even hit the, like, he's even like, with or without you. You know, like he's able to like do that. You can hear that airflow, and it's like he's hitting it perfectly. So Drew, I feel like Drew just needs a little more training with his vocals to be able to have more of that breath, be able to have more of that breath control, so he can really power out the vocals. And I love Gavi. He was one of the newer ones that after they eliminate the first couple people, he came in like 3 episodes into the show. And he's been showcasing that he's got the talent. He's got the vocals. Because previous challenge he did like a Cristian Castro song. And even in one of the Santos Bravos sessions he sang along with I think it was, he did a duet with Alejandro. Oh, love that boy. And he was like, they were so good. But I feel like right now, he's letting the nerves of, 1, it's a performance. 2, it's pressure because it's K-pop. 3, you have Song Sung-duk standing right in front of them. And I think more with him, he's letting the nerves get to him. And the nerves are like constricting his throat where his vocals are not coming out as like normal as they should. His vocal cords are not as relaxed because he's like tense. So that's affecting his vocal control, his breath control. So he's sounding out of breath and he's not able to hit the notes. But I think he's like supposed to be an all-rounder, but mostly he's better at dancing. Like he can't even hit the notes. Like he doesn't have to have a super low register to be like, tell me all your deepest. He's literally just standing there and he's like, tell me all your deepest. Like, what is that? He can't even like do a growl, like, tell me all your, because he's literally just standing there. And that's another one, Leo. I don't know, he's supposed to be an all-rounder, like a good vocalist, a good singer. This boy ticked me off. I know there's fans out there that love Leo, but you have to look past the looks, which personally I don't think he's that great looking, but that's just a personal preference. I don't know if he's a good dancer. I still haven't seen him showcase, like shine in anything dance related. Vocally, I don't think he's got the vocals. His comment when he started the show, his introduction, he said that he was known as the Latin, he's Mexican, he's known as the Latin Justin Bieber. I have not seen Justin Bieber like vocals from him once. Like right here, it's not, he doesn't have like super low notes, he doesn't have super high register notes, and he's still not able to hit the notes. At least Gabby's hitting the notes, you know, even if he's like losing his breath and the notes are getting cut off, he's hitting the notes consistently and it's like a higher note. And we all know how hard it is to hit that whoa. It's hard to do like the hit, like the up and down, up and down, up and down notes with the O's, because you're trying to give that feeling. It's not just you got that O, it's not flat, it's like oh, you're doing scales with the O's. He's hitting the scales. Yes, he's losing his breath, but again, that's because of nervousness. Like, he just needs to work on his breath control. Like, he was whispering! And then you couldn't even hear him right there. It's like he's also supposed to be doing, tell me all your deepest. And they're just doing syncopations. It's not like a full-on choreo. They're just syncopating. And he's like, there's no sound coming out of his mouth. And Leo's like, all your bad desire. Same song, same. That's why I'm like, what am I listening to? And I think that's the only line Pablo had. I feel like he did a lot of backgrounds, but that's like the ending. Oh, my bad desire. So that was good. Like the backup. I think he, you could hear his vocals throughout the song. Like he did a lot of backup vocals. So this was this only tiny little moment to shine. If you notice, the one that gave the most lines to was Gabi. Because previously he did amazing with like the vocal challenge. So that's why I feel like they gave him more of the lead lines. The ones that got more lines were Gabi, Drew, and Diego. Of those three, Gabi and Drew, they're not vocalists, but they were able to at least hold the notes, hit the notes. I think of the three Drew did the best. He hit all the notes. He was consistent. He just wasn't as loud because he needs to work on releasing that air so the notes come out more powerfully. Gabi did well. He was like the second best. And I'm talking about dancers who are doing vocals. He was the second best in his group because he was hitting the notes even though he's not a vocalist. Yes, he sounded out of breath because he needs to work on his breath control so he doesn't run out of breath so quickly. But then Diego, who's like the third person who got the most lines, all he had to do was hit Nikki's lines, which is like, tell me all your deepest secrets, like twice in like that growly lower register. The first time he was whispering, tell me all your deepest secrets. And the second time he was supposed to sing it, where he's just standing in the middle and they're just doing syncopations, you couldn't even hear him say a word. Obviously, Iannis kicked it off. You could hear his vocals. He's like a great vocalist. So I feel like they put the good vocalists in the back burner as the background singers, and they challenged the dancers to be the vocalists. And of the dancers that were doing the vocals, the ones that did better for me were Drew and Gabi. So that was the first group of the Santos Bravos that did the challenge. I think that was 7 of them in here. So, and then the ones that really didn't impress me, obviously, was like Leonardo. That was another one. He had like one line and he couldn't hit that line. Pablo hit his line. It was fine. It was short. Iannis hit his line. It was fine. It was short. But yeah, that was my critique, my feedback on the first group doing the song. And that was like 6 of them. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So Drew did well. He just needs more power. Gabi did well. He just needs to work on breath control. Obviously, he started off. He's a great vocalist, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He just has to worry about his dancing. He finished it off. He's a good vocalist, again, dancer. That's why he didn't get a lot of lines. He's weak. He couldn't hit his one line. He couldn't hit any of his lines, like the register. And I don't even know who's back here. Like, I missed that person. Who was that? So they're evaluating. Also, I think it was weird that the people that got eliminated were from the second group, which personally I felt was stronger than the first group. Yes, the first group was very well polished. Choreography wise, they had everything cleanly, but I feel like vocal wise, the second group had the better performers. And there's like, obviously there's like 3 from this group that I think should be debuting. There's some members that I think they're just keeping them there because they're good dancers. But if you're going to have a boy band and if you're going to back it up, if you're obviously training with the K-pop style of training, then all of them have to be all-rounders. Yes, you will have your lead vocalist and you'll have your main dancers like every Hybe group has, BTS and Enhypen TXT. 17, each one has their vocal line, has the dance line, and has the all-rounders. But you shouldn't be able to tell, it shouldn't be that obvious which one is which. Everybody should be hitting the dance, the choreography at the same. Everybody should be able to hit their notes, be able to have that vocal strength, able to have that air control. So it's like your performances go off flawlessly. And obviously that's why the producers are in charge of giving specific members specific roles. So they can, they're not going to give them notes that they know they can't hit. they're not going to give them choreography that they know they can't do. They are able to choose who gets assigned what. But if you're starting off, you need to be able to hit the notes, and you need to be able to hit your lines and hit your marks and hit your cues and dance in unison with the same amount of power, the same amount of strength. So you can't point out who's like the weak member. So the second group is 1, 2, 3, 4. Composed of 6 people. Kawe, I think that's Jesuale, that's Alejandro, that's Kenneth, that's Luigi, and then that's Alex. He's from Spain. So right off from the first start, you can tell the difference vocally. This group is more, I don't want to say they have more of the vocalist, but like Kenneth has been singing since I don't know what age. He's like, has very good control of his vocals. Alejandro, he knows his voice. He knows how to hit the notes. He knows like how to emote. He has very good breath control. Same thing for Kawe. He's a very good singer, but he's more comfortable doing like his upper register. And then we have Jesuale, he's a little bit better at dancing. Alex is supposed to be like an amazing dancer, and Luigi is also a dancer. So you have these 3 dancers that are working on their vocals, and you have the 3 vocalists that are working on their dancing. Here's where you're going to see that there's basically half of this team is nailing and improving in the area they have to work on, and like one of these people is just not improving at all. Like, this is week 8. I think by this time it's been like already 3 or 4 months that have passed that they've been training. So this is just like their 8th challenge, but it's already been like 4 months since they've been training. So they shouldn't be sounding the way they're sounding. Also, this is what brought me to make this video, because this specific performance and some of these specific people are getting compared to like Enhypen. I feel like some fans are taking it out of context of the comparison. Obviously, we know in Enhypen, the main lead, the all-rounder is Heesung. The joke is with Engines is that Island was just Heesung trying to find his members. And personally, I feel like Santos Bravos, Alejandro is the Heesung of that group. Even though he's not as strong dance-wise, he's getting there. Like, he's putting in the work. So he's becoming an all-rounder. And like in all of the challenges that they've had, he hasn't missed a beat. He hasn't missed a mark. Every critique he's gotten, he's taken it in and he's put it into action, and it's shown. So personally, obviously, with any song, like you guys have noticed, if you're Engine, a lot of Enhypen songs, the ones that start the song are either Heesung or Jay. Like, they set the tone. And when they close the songs, a lot of times it's Heesung or Jay. They close out the songs. Because like I mentioned, Heesung is like he's like the best vocalist of the group. Not that every other member isn't great. I'm a huge Enhypen fan, if you guys have seen my channel. But I feel like people are putting videos comparing this performance to Enhypen's performance. Obviously, the level of training isn't the same amount of years. Sometimes the videos that are being used of Enhypen are not like the video that I've seen clipped the most. It's not like a main performance video. It's like a encore performance video. But if you put them, you should be comparing them with like performances they put on like at award shows or even at their concerts. And Heesung still sounds amazing. They all still sound very stable. Obviously, you're going to be winded if you're like Dean. Also, Enhypen's choreography is more complex than Santos Bravos. Santos Bravos, yes, they do like a lot of like jumping type style movements, a lot of syncopations, and just like hitting lines and hitting poses, hitting points. Whereas Enhypen's, as they're singing, they're doing like front kicks. They're doing like side shoulder syncopations, and they're like doing their formations. So Enhypen's is a little bit more technically difficult with the choreography, adding on to that layer the vocals. Whereas Santos Bravos, they watered down a little bit the choreography. because they needed to, because again, they're not you can't compare years of experience with like months of training. But at the same time, you have to take that into account, that the Santos Bravos choreography is not as difficult as the Enhypen choreography. So you're not comparing apples to apples. So those are the things you have to keep in mind if you're really going to be comparing the two. But anyways, this is the second group from Santos Bravos that's doing the Enhypen Bad Desire. Also, they changed the keynote for this group. I didn't notice it as much for the first group, but for this group, they had to change the keys to fit some of the members' vocal weakness. So instead of starting with or without you at a higher note, they started with or without you, more like straight, like linear, with or without you, versus the original with or without you, that it goes like high key change. So that's another thing that you guys have to, if you're not familiar with the Enhypen song and you're comparing and saying this group is better or this singer did it better, you have to take into account also the key change. They had to change the keys. Not because the kickoff, like personally, I think Alejandro would have been able to hit that note, but they had to rearrange the key for the whole song because other members of this group are not as vocally strong. So it would basically trying to hide their weakness they had to change the key for everybody so they wouldn't stick out as much with like, oh my God, their vocals are terrible. And even then, you can hear their vocals are terrible. And here they didn't do the stupid Santos Bravos. That's like that. I don't even know what that was about.
What if I told you that I wanted you, but I see your heart is pure? What if I told you I'm a monster? No, come closer.
Like right there, Engine, if you're watching this and if you watch like videos on other social media, please understand that this is a compliment to Heesung. It's not bringing him down. But the fact that people are saying that like this portion right here solidified Alejandro's role, like he should be getting a spot in that group. He's being called like the Heesung of Santos Bravos. That's like a compliment, okay? Because of how good that he's doing in his group compared to the original group. Because Heesung kicks off the song. He has like the job of like setting the tone, setting the mood, setting that angst of the song, giving us that angst so we can know like, okay, this is an angsty song. He's hitting those the vocal vibratos. Obviously, Heesung does it amazingly better because he's a vocal genius. He's also like, he has perfect pitch. But the fact that Alejandro is able to do it in his way, he's hitting the notes, he's giving the emotion, he's hitting the vibratos, like that's a huge compliment to Heesung that he was able to take this role where he's like, okay, like personally, to me, it says that Alejandro, he got his role, he studied the source material, which is Heesung, which is Enhypen. He studied the source material, he saw how they performed it, and he's like, okay, this is what I need to emulate. This is how I need to do it. I'm going to do it in my keynote that they gave me, but the outcome has to be the same. So to me personally, that tells me that Alejandro studied the source material. He studied Enhypen's performance, and he utilized that to help his performance. And you can tell also by the outfits who they're trying to push is like being visually there and that needs to be in the group. But personally, this outfit choice did not match with everybody else's outfits. Like, I like Gawa's outfit better. He's also showing his arms, but it's not as like a rib, what's it called? A tank, like Alex. like really you could tell they're trying to showcase the muscles, like distract you from what you're gonna hear, versus Kawa that it's like he has vocals, but we gotta match sleeveless with sleeveless because we can't just have one random sleeveless guy, so we gotta put another one in a sleeveless.
What if I told you that I want you, but I see your heart is pure? What if I told you I'm a monster?
Don't come closer.
Innocent girl, don't touch, don't do it. Don't wanna take your golden light out in the world.
Like that was Hisuale. He's 16. He's been working on his vocals because he's mostly a dancer. Like even when they had a snippet of him singing, vocally he's not there yet. But he hit all the notes and he was like giving the emotion. He still sounds very, you could tell he sounds more like he's trying to sell you a feeling. You could tell he's trying to sell you the feeling with like his facial expressions. Even though he's hitting the notes, he's not actually like singing it from his heart. He's singing it from his head, like, no, no, no. So it's interesting that they put Hisuale and Kenneth back to back because they're very close in age, but one is more vocally trained than the other, and you can tell by the difference in how they perform it and how they emote the feeling of their specific lyrics.
Monster, don't come closer. Innocent girl, don't touch, don't do it. Don't wanna take your golden light out in the world. You're just an angel with you in the dark. My sacrifice.
Like Kenneth was able to give it more feeling. Hisuale, he's visual. He's there. He's visually. He's a good dancer, but vocally he wasn't as strong because even though he hit the notes, innocent girl, don't stop, don't do it, don't want to take your golden light. It was very like, it was lacking flavor. But then when Kenneth did his part, you could feel it a little more. He's like, out in this world, you're just an angel. He was like emoting the feeling. And that's what differentiates both of them. You know, if you're like looking at each little bit. Because Kenneth, once he goes through puberty and he hits that his voice changes, he's already mastered like his vocal, his breath. He knows how to work his vocal cords. Even if he goes through puberty and his voice changes, gets deeper, he's gonna get even better. Like he's gonna emote even better. He's gonna give you more of that feeling. And like he can only get better from here. Whereas Hisuale, he's still struggling to keep up, and then he still even has to get better. So they're trying to debut the group by like October. So that's where you have to measure like, yes, I like this member, but is he at the level he needs to be if we're only like 2 weeks away from debuting a group?
Without you, yeah, I'm torn between a deeper desire. With or without you, there's a flame, but maybe it's getting brighter.
And this is where I say they changed the key of the song to fit a specific person so that he wouldn't stand out amongst everybody else. Because the original note is, with or without you, na 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 na, which gives you that angst. But he can't hit those notes, so they gave him with or without you. Yeah, I'm torn between the deeper desire. But he couldn't even do that either. Like he's like with or without you. I honestly feel like he's tone deaf. He's like with or without you. Yeah, I'm torn between, like he's off key. He is off key, but since he's like a good dancer, they're trying their best to make him work. Like the background vocalists are out singing him.
Yeah, you got that. Oh,
Like, oh, my man Alejandro came in with like the jumping choreo. And he was very stable with the, yeah, you got that, oh, oh. Obviously, I'm not a singer. But that is not easy at all. Like in comparison to him with Gabi performing it, Gabi, you could tell like that the vocals were cut off because of his lack of vocal control. Whereas Alejandro, he's like, okay, I'm getting ready to do this choreo. I need to have like enough air in me to not run out of breath while I'm singing it. And then also I have to make sure that my vocal cords are not getting strained, that I'm not like forcing it, that I'm not singing it from my throat, but I'm singing it from my diaphragm. So the vocal flow was like very seamless, and he was able to do, and this is the part that's like, everybody's like, oh my God, he's the Heesung of the group, because Heesung does that portion like perfectly, like the, yeah, you got that, oh, hitting the runs, hitting the scales while he's dancing. In his case, he's like jumping and doing the choreo, doing the hand movements, and like his vocals did not suffer because of it. And that's where it shows that he came in stronger on the vocals, weaker on the choreo, but as the show progressed, he's matching the dancers and he's keeping his vocal stability, but not only that, but also improving it. And this guy.
It's getting brighter. Yeah, you got that. With or without you, I belong here in the beautiful fire.
With or without you, I belong here in this beautiful fire. Like they changed the note, they lowered it also because it has to fit the whole song for when they changed it for Alex. But again, he's like sliding on the floor, like doing slides, doing formations. Obviously, he needs to hold the mic a little closer so you don't hear like the difference in getting loud and getting soft. But he hit all the notes. With or without you, yeah, I'm torn between this. What is it? With or without you, I'm torn between this beautiful fire.
With or without you, there's a flame, or maybe it's getting.
Like, you can see Kawe is in the back singing his backup. With or without you, I'm torn between this fire. He sounds better than Alex, who's doing the like easier note. He's at the front, it's his moment to shine, but he's getting outshined by Kawe.
Brighter. Yeah, you got that.
And then you have Luigi in the back trying to do the oh, like it's very flat. It's very flat. He's not hitting those what do they call them? He's not hitting the scales. It's just like oh, it's like he's one note but just jumping, and that's creating the sound oh instead of oh.
Without you, I belong here in the beautiful fire. So my body does. Tell me all your
Like Luigi did better here in this part than Diego did on his, because you can actually tell, you can hear him in that lower register. Tell me all your deepest. His only problem here is he's just saying the words. He's not emoting the feeling. So he's giving us, tell me all your deepest. He's narrating, whereas the original with Nikki, it's like, it gives it this evil sound. It's like, tell me all your deepest. You know, he's putting that like angst in it, that like I'm plotting something vibe. Like you told me all your secrets, girl, so I'm gonna win you over. That's the original vibe that the song gives. Luigi is hitting the notes, but he's only narrating them. He's not giving you the feeling of like, I want to know everything about you. He's just like, so tell me about yourself. You know what I mean? And I feel like I don't know if this is how they arranged it or if Kawe ran out of breath and he didn't trust himself to hit the oh, like this is a different, the way that the note should be, it should be coming from, I want to say like your chest voice. Oh, it's here, but I feel like there was a moment of like panic that he's like, oh, I'm not gonna hit the notes. So he reverted to his comfort zone, which is like his head voice, like the airy voice. And he goes, oh, you could hear the change from, oh, like it gets like so airy and like so head spacey that personally, I don't think it sounds good. Like the notes are beautiful, don't get me wrong. Oh, like it's beautiful. The vibrato's there. He's hitting the higher registers. But for like you're closing out the song, and especially if Alejandro led you in with like, yeah, you got that. You know, like with this angsty, powerful, yeah, you got that, and you go into oh, it takes it to a different feeling. It goes from angsty to like fairy. Like you're not angsty anymore. You're not like, oh, tell me about your girl. It's like, oh, I'm in the forest. I'm in the fairies. Like, I don't know if that was his personal, the way he reverted to singing it like that, or if that's how they arranged it for him. If that's how they arranged it for him, I know what the directors were doing. They were trying to showcase that he can hit those higher registers. Like, this is going to be our guy. This is going to be our falsettos. But personally, I don't think that fit the vibe of the song. Like, Bad Desire, having a falsetto, that did not fit the song at all. Like, I don't think it did him justice. Yes, he hit all the notes. Yes, they were beautiful. But it took you out of that space of like what the song was trying to emote to you. So personally, I think this group did better than group 1 because this group had more this group challenged the vocalists to be more dancers, whereas the first group challenged the dancers to be more vocalists. The dancers did not meet the vocal standards, with the exception of Drew and Gabby, who just let the nerves get to him. In this instance, the vocalists remained stable and were able to hit the choreography. But the dancers that were supposed to be just like get a little bit moments to shine, like Alejandro, this bro over here, he did not deliver at all. He did not deliver at all. Luigi, he was hitting the notes, but he wasn't feeling anything. Jesuale, he's a beautiful boy. He's trying, but he still needs more training. Like they said on the episode, it's like he's on the cusp of like breaking through, but he still needs a little bit more time, and they don't have time. Whereas Kenneth, he's able to emote the feeling, he's able to hit the notes, he's able to give the performance. Kawe, he's obviously, they're like, look, this guy can sing, he can give falsettos. But I feel like that the way that was designed for him, I don't think it fit the song at all. And then we have Alejandro, who personally, if he doesn't debut and if he's not like the center of the group, I don't know what Hybe is thinking, like honestly. Because to me, from all the episodes that I've seen and all the performances, he's giving like center, focus, main vocalist, the center person that's going to be like, everybody's working around him, tying him in, which is again why a lot of people are calling him the Heesung of the group. He's like the Heesung of Santos Bravos, because Heesung for Enhypen, he's like the center. He's like the all-rounder. He's like a great vocalist and he's a great dancer. All the members are also great, but if you take Heesung out of the equation, it's not like a cohesive group. The same thing, I feel like if they take Alejandro out of the equation, the group is not going to be as cohesive. So that's why personally I think that from this group, the ones that should debut are Alejandro, Kawe, because they need that person that can hit those notes, and Kenneth, because one, he's already very vocally trained. He is able to keep up with like the dancers with the older boys, and also as he gets older, he's going to improve. But they also, you know, every group needs a maknae, so I feel like he's the designated maknae of the group. But anyways, after this episode finished, we had two people that were eliminated, which were Jesuale and Luigi, like both out of this group. I don't know, like I know why. It wasn't necessarily because the performance was bad. It was because them as individuals are either not growing as fast as they should, or have stopped growing because they've like met this wall there. They're like, they can't get over that hump, that hurdle. But anyways, I know I haven't made any other videos regarding this group, this whole elimination, so it might seem a little odd that I'm making one now. But like I mentioned, I've been watching the show since it started airing. Like so pumped for them for Hybe Latin America to create like a Latin boy group, because I feel like the origin of boy groups is like Latin. They're basically like what started the whole boy group craze, starting off with like groups like Menudo back in the day, like in the 80s I think it was. But so I'm hyped to watch this show to see who actually debuts, just the same way as I watched Island and I went through all that stress, that like frustration, like the voting. So happy that the members that I was rooting for debuted. You know, obviously sad about others not debuting, but I'm excited for this, for what's going to happen. Hopefully they make the right decisions. They cut the people that should be cut. I don't know why they're still here at this level. And they debuted the members that should be debuting. But let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you want me to react to other performance. I don't even know if Santos Bravos fan space has a name yet. We probably don't. But you know how they're trying to push the STVB? I don't even know. But I'm excited to see the group debut. Like, I think it's like October 15th. They're going to finally announce the final lineup. So let me know what you guys thought. Obviously, Engine. Let me know what you thought of the performance. Personally, I don't think anybody is trying to disrespect Enhypen. We all know how hard workers they are. I'm a huge Enhypen fan. I'm a huge Engine since like when they were eggs, you know, from Island days. Like, they are my boys. So that's why I was like, I need to do this video to kind of like compare and point out like some differences and similarities. Obviously, why some people are shining in Santos Bravos and why they're being compared to certain members of Enhypen. So hopefully kind of clarify, make sure there's like no fan words in between like fan bases for each group, because we always obviously get defensive for our favorite artists. We get defensive, especially if there's like other artists covering your favorite artist's music, and then having those fans say like, oh, my artist did it better. Honestly, I'm speaking from experience, because as an Engine, but as an ARMY, most of all, I did see a lot of Engines commenting that Enhypen's cover of I Need You was better than the original. So I totally get where Engine is coming from when they feel like Santos Bravos fans are saying that the cover was better than the original. So please keep that in mind. Like, in hindsight, how did you act towards other fans when your favorites were doing covers? And how are you reacting now to those fans having the same reaction you had towards your favorites? You know, it's like you can't say yours is better than the original and then be upset that another fan base is saying that theirs is better than the original. It's the exact same thing. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought about my feedback on the shows, their performances. Who do you think should be debuting of Santos Bravos? If there's any Santos Bravos fans watching, leave your messages in the comments. If you want to leave them in Spanish, that's totally fine. I wish I could have done this video in English and in Spanish, so both Engines and Santos Bravos fans could understand what I was coming from. But hopefully you get where I'm coming from, my vibes, my thoughts of who I think should be debuting, who I think shown, who I think is a weaker link, who I think should just like go home already. Alejandro and Diego and Leo. But anyways, that's my personal preference. But anyways, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to, and please leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback, and I'll see you next time.